behind every flag that waves on this planet, there lies a shadow, the shadow of debt. Today, the United States carries the highest debt in its history, over $38 trillion. The European Union owes about $14 trillion, and Japan stands with nearly $9 trillion. Even oil-rich nations like Saudi Arabia and export giants like Germany or China are drowning in red ink. But here's the paradox. If everyone is in debt, then who is the creditor? This question isn't just about money. It's about power, trust, and the invisible architecture of civilization itself. Because debt is not merely a burden. It's the skeleton of the modern world. Every war, every crisis, every rise and fall has been built upon this silent foundation. And if you follow the chain of creditors far enough, you'll discover something unsettling. The world owes no one. It owes itself. But that doesn't mean everyone benefits equally. The story of today's $315 trillion planet didn't begin with a credit card or a computer. It began with a war. England was at war with France. Its treasury was empty. The gold was gone. In desperation, the king turned to merchants for help. "Lend me your money," he said, "and I'll repay you with the taxes of tomorrow." And that's how, for the first time in history, a nation began spending money it didn't yet have. To manage this new idea, they created the Bank of England. From that moment, everything changed. Debt became not a sign of weakness, but a symbol of trust. If a nation could borrow, it meant people believed in it. France copied it. The Dutch refined it. And the newly born United States used it to finance both its revolution and its expansion westward. Empires once conquered lands for gold. Now they issued bonds for interest. The battlefield had moved, from the land to the ledger. Fast forward 3 centuries. Debt has become humanity's greatest export. Every government borrows, every bank lends, and every citizen, through taxes, savings, and pensions, is both debtor and creditor at once. In America, about half of that $38 trillion debt is held by investors. 2/3 of them are Americans themselves. Banks, insurance firms, pension funds, even the Federal Reserve. The rest belongs to Japan, China, the UK, Luxembourg, and Belgium. So yes, America owes China, but only about 2% of the total. In truth, America owes America. The Treasury issues bonds. Banks buy them. The central bank buys them back, creating new dollars in the process. Citizens pay taxes to fund the interest, and that interest flows back into their retirement accounts. A perfect circle, a mirror made of promises. And this mirror doesn't just reflect America, it reflects the whole planet. Japan lends to the US. The US lends to Europe through the IMF. Europe lends to developing nations through the World Bank. And those nations lend back by storing their reserves in Western bonds. It's a global game of hot potato, each country holding someone else's promise and no one daring to drop it. Behind it all stands a quiet network of power: hedge funds, central banks, pension funds, and sovereign wealth funds. They decide who borrows cheaply and who must beg. When their trust is lost, currencies collapse, governments fall, and economies can be rewritten overnight. In the modern world, governments don't borrow to repay, they borrow to renew. Economists call it refinancing. But in truth, it's more like a ritual. Old debts are replaced with new ones, and the cycle continues endlessly. Because today, debt is money itself. Every coin, every digital dollar carries an invisible message: pay later. And the system survives only as long as trust does. But what happens when that trust begins to fade? We've seen it before. Greece, Argentina, Sri Lanka. When governments can't pay, the creditors step out from the shadows. The IMF, the rating agencies, the faceless bondholders. And what follows is always the same: bailouts, austerity, and ordinary people paying the price. Then the system resets. New loans replace the old, and the machine keeps turning. Because today's debt isn't meant to be repaid, it's meant to be believed in. When governments borrow endlessly, the money doesn't disappear. It moves. from taxpayers to investors, from workers to institutions. Debt, in truth, is not just a transaction between nations. It's a transfer between classes. That's why global debt and global inequality rise together. The system rewards those who owe and punishes those who pay. If that sounds familiar, it's because it's the same story at every scale. From a household to a nation to the planet itself. There's no single villain, no single hero. Only a machine. The quiet engine of modern finance, where the line between debtor and creditor has vanished. Once, debt meant servitude. Today, it means balance. But when that balance breaks, when trust finally runs dry, the world will remember what debt truly is, a promise that cannot last forever. If this gave you a new way to see the world, subscribe. Because history doesn't repeat, it teaches. And those who listen will see the next collapse coming.